Hello and welcome back to another quick info bite with your library learning commons here at Pikes Peak State College. I'm Larissa Powers. I'm your lead reference and research librarian here. And this is a little bit more of a complex topic than what we have typically covered in these little info bites. So before I even start digging into it, I want to shout out a really useful tool on the PubMed database, which is what I'm going to be talking about here, that will help you dig in more in depth to what I'm talking about. The topic is going to be MeSH terms. So MeSH, you can see it written here on the database. They're medical subject headings. So we've done a video that you've maybe seen in your course shell about searching with keywords. Databases don't do natural language searching for the most part, such as with Google, where you can just type in a whole sentence and it's like, I've got you, I know what you mean. Databases do not do that. You need to boil down your topic to the keywords, the really important pieces of your sentence that are actually going to guide the database to retrieving the information you're looking for. Medical databases have an extra fancy version of this, which is that their databases uses controlled vocabulary. So the people who are indexing these articles that you're searching, they're using a very specific set of terms that are the agreed upon by the National Library of Medicine terminology for each different topic that you could be searching. And those do get updated every year. So it's a little bit complicated, but due to the gravity of the subject matter and the fact that these need to be really well indexed and in a way where all of the information is retrieved in a really efficient search term, it is all kept in a very uniform series of controlled vocabulary like this. So it's a little complicated. I will do my best to walk through it here. But I do, again, really want to hype on PubMed. If you scroll down at the bottom, you'll see there's a link to just NCBI literature resources here labeled MeSH. They have a lot of really great tutorials if you click on this tutorials link. They also have the NLM MeSH homepage, which has a lot of great information, including the year's updated list of vocabulary. So as the years go on, sometimes old terms are booted and new terms are brought in for diagnoses, or for as research is progressing, different terminologies are changed in the system. So each year you can go in and see the complete list of what they've updated. And again, tutorials, webinars, if you just want to read about the history of why this database is a little different and unique in that it has this controlled vocabulary, you can pop over here and look at a lot of historical information about it. I highly recommend you dig in, especially if you're getting way more advanced in your research within your degree program or your certificate program. Knowing how to efficiently get in and find what you're looking for in here is really important. So like I mentioned, basically MeSH is a controlled vocabulary. It's a series of words that are agreed upon that will be used as descriptors. And so building a search with that controlled vocabulary, you would have, first off, your subject heading. For the most part, these are the words that you would know for what you're looking up. Generally, the agreed upon term, one thing to keep in mind, it's always going to be American spelling. If, say, for instance, you're studying anything to do with anesthesia, top of head, the word you're looking for is anesthesia. It is going to be spelled in the American way and not in the English way, since it is slightly different. And then MeSH does, underneath the subject heading, have a few different categories, including descriptions of that subject heading, qualifiers. These are additions to the descriptor, or subheadings, which are also a controlled vocabulary, and then supplements. So each article that you're trying to find might have 15 or 16 of these different subject headings to make them more retrievable. So entering a term here, and this is a quote directly from the MeSH tutorials on PubMed. So for instance, and I'm going to see if I can pronounce this. My bad if I don't nail it. But for example, if you're searching the subject of jejunal enteritis, that is broken up into the descriptor of jejunum and enteritis. So You wouldn't type in jejunal enteritis, it wouldn't get you where you're trying to go. You've got to break it into its two separate descriptors. Combine those in an advanced search here. Oh, hang on, I just did the thing I said not to do. Jejunum. And then search. And it's brought up everything here that has been indexed using those terms. For a term that has a descriptor or a qualifier, so for instance, here I'm using, again, this MeSH online tutorial here. If you have a deficiency of something, so in this descriptor, it has a deficiency of monoamine oxidase. If you were searching keywords in a normal database, not normal, PubMed is normal. If you were searching keywords in a database that is not using MeSH subject headings, you could just type in monoamine oxidase deficiency and it would probably grab you everything you need. You could put it in parentheses to keep it as a phrase or put it in quotes if you want it all to go together. Those are research tips and tricks because of how PubMed is lined out. And also this is any database that uses National Library of Medicine, National Institutes of Health. So your nursing databases will follow this same procedure too. So searching for that, the descriptor that you're using would be the monoamine oxidase. You would have to use a qualifier, which is deficiency. And it would pop in here and grab everything you need for that. So really it's just kind of building a tree out of whatever subject you're trying to get at. The important thing to note is that unlike with keyword searches, where it's whoever indexed it probably put in a bunch of alternate terminology for what you're looking for. So if you were looking for skin, I should have prepared an example before I got started here. If you're looking for skin, there's a chance that someone might have put skin or flesh or etc. Since this is a controlled vocabulary, if you're not looking at the term that is indexed in the system, you're not going to retrieve what you need to retrieve. So within the MeSH terms, just dig through if you're trying to find something and find what the term is in the controlled vocabulary and go from there. If you ever hit a wall with this, remember, research is really iterative. It takes a lot of tries, and especially a lot of tries in these more intense scientific medical fields. And B, always remember, please reach out to us here in the Library and Learning Commons for additional assistance if you do hit that wall and you can't get around it. We're always happy to dig in with you and see what we can do. So that is just a little more information about medical subject headings, which is going to be important to you searching within PubMed and your medical sciences databases.